Everybody's Blast Sports. As you know, I'm your host, Jay, also known as Coach Jay, and I always bring the best talent in the sports industry to my platform. And today I have a very special guest in the building. I have a phenomenal MMA fighter. He owns his own martial arts school. He is top of the tier. Please, sir, introduce yourself.
My brothers, nice meeting you. My name is Askar, right? I'm a professional MMA fighter with 14 wins, 4 L's, and about 8 amateur fights, right?
So, backtrack me a little bit. How did you start taking martial arts, and what was the first form of martial arts you started taking?
So I started training at a very young age. I was, I believe, 2009. I was, I want to say 12 years old, 13 years old when I first started, and it was for self-defense. To tell you the truth, I was born overseas. I'm a Palestinian. I was born overseas, and I came to the United States at a young age. My dad moved us here for opportunity, and obviously all the bullshit that's happening back home. To avoid all that, so we came here for a new life and all that. And I just got picked on as a kid, so my dad put us in some the self-defense classes, taekwondo, and all that stuff. And I stumbled upon a boxing gym actually, like a MMA/boxing gym back in the day, and I just fell in love, bro. Fell in love. At first, it was for self defense, and then it became to want to compete. And I knew I wanted to compete at a young age. I had my first Muay Thai fight when I was 15, 16.
Wow.
And then I knew I was going to do MMA. So by the time I hit 18 years old, I was ready to go MMA. And, I was one of the first few guys fighting MMA out of Chicago now, actually.
So you grew up in the mean streets of Chicago.
Yeah, I was the suburbs of Chicago. I'd say I'm not sitting in Chirac getting shot at, but I'm from Orland Park, Palos Hills area.
Okay. All right. So I'll backtrack that. But you still grew up in an area where, because of your ethnicity and culture and your religion, it wasn't really acceptable at that time.
Yes, at the time it was 2001. You know what I
Oh,
mean? It
wow.
was
Wow.
2001, so it's like it was a rough time for to be a Muslim Arab in America. With all the bullshit that was coming up and happening. Obviously now it's 2025, and we look back now, we find out it wasn't the Muslims that did that. It wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't the motherfuckers that killed JFK. We know, things are coming out years later, and we see how things look. But at the time, I was being bullied, for being different, not speaking English, and all that good stuff. And just I got into a lot of fights in high school. I'm the oldest out of four boys, so I was the first one to kind of experience everything. I got into a lot of fights with kids in school and defending myself and my honor and my name and all that good stuff. And then I became a fighter. So it's cool now, many years later, looking at all those kids that I had beef with as a kid, reach out to me and be like, damn, it's so cool you became a fighter. It's so cool that you're doing this. It's, you know what I mean? And it's like, it was just, it meant like it felt like it was written for me.
Gotcha. Have they apologized?
Most of them apologize. Most of them are fans now. They're buying t-shirts and shit. But yeah, yeah, come and watch
But
me fight.
are they apologizing out of fear, or are they apologizing because that's the right thing to do?
Say the truth, I don't think anybody's doing it out of fear. It's been many years, and I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not over
Yeah, you
here.
seem like it. You seem very
You know
down
what
to
I
earth.
mean? No, a lot of it's out of respect. They were like, "Man, respect, bro. I'm surprised that you did your thing, and you said you were gonna do it, and you did it, and now you're there, and you. So it was a lot of it was out of respect. So I appreciate everybody that I ever met that brought me up to where I'm at.
That's
Even if it was
awesome.
little kids fighting in high school.
Yeah. So you took Muay Thai, and what other arts did you take besides Muay Thai and Taekwondo?
So I did right from the beginning. I did everything. I mean, pretty much. I did Taekwondo to start. Then I did boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu Jitsu, wrestling. I did everything all at once. The gym I was at was pretty much teaching everything. And then
Wow.
when I knew I wanted to go MMA, I found myself an MMA gym. And then I started training with that team. And then they closed down. You know what I mean? And then I went with another team. And then I ended up moving to. I lived in Milwaukee for 2 years training with Rufus Sport, that
Okay.
Rufus Sport gym with Duke Rufus and all those guys. And I trained there for about 2 years. And then I came back to Chicago, trained here for 4 or 5 years, and then I moved out to Colorado to train with Factory X for about 2 years, and I just moved back the beginning of 2020 or the beginning of 2024. I moved back home,
Okay.
and then I made the decision. I'm like, man, I've been in this game I've been in this game longer than most motherfuckers had gyms. You know what I mean? Excuse
No,
my language.
no, it's
Most
okay. You
most
curse all you want.
yeah,
I fucking curse too.
I love it. Most more than most motherfuckers that have their own gyms. A lot of these guys end up just never fighting or fighting 2, 3 fights, and then they go, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm opening my own martial arts school. I feel like when I came back, I was sick and tired of just kind of like having another voice in my head about, oh, you should do it this way, you should do it that way. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it my way. I'm opening up my own school, develop my own talent, develop my own guys. Nowadays, especially with just mental health and all that good stuff, like and our self-awareness is even these old heads, 50, 60, 40 year olds
Yeah.
sitting down owning out martial arts schools. They kind of they dump their bullshit that's in happening in their minds on these kids. That's one thing I'm trying to be self-aware of. Like the bullshit that happens in my life stays in my homes. The bullshit that happens in my immediate life stays outside. When I'm in the gym, I'm focused purely on the kid. I'm treating him like he's a blank slate, and I'm trying to teach him and develop him. And I was at a few gyms, and it just felt very cultish. You know what I mean? It felt like it was being ran by a ringleader and little cliques, and I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of martial arts gyms end up like that if the top isn't correct.
Well, I actually saw a Instagram post, and the martial arts school said, the owner of the martial arts school, excuse me, said, "I'm here to support you and what you want to do. If you want to come here to relieve stress, then we'll relieve stress. If you want to come here to be a competitor, then we'll train as a competitor. If you want to come here just to hang out bullshit but still train, then we'll hang out bullshit and still train. But we
Yes.
here to make it more of a whatever your needs are, because that's how we
Yes.
should run the school. I don't know if you do that. I'm just saying
A hundred
that's what he
percent.
said.
Yes, yes. Listen, that guys feels like I'm speaking to myself. 100%. That's what it is here at Round Four Gym. I wanted to. We have people that are just casuals that come in here and just train. The intensity is training like you're going to fight. I tell that to most people. Like the intensity here is like you're about to compete. And that's how I want the level to be at. And but it doesn't mean you have to compete. But self defense, awareness of your body is very important.
So I want to dive in a little bit into your professional career before we jump back into your martial arts school.
My brother.
You're 14-4.
Yes, sir.
You lost your last fight.
Yes, sir. Coming off L. Yes, sir.
Yeah, which it happens. People lose. MMA's I always say you don't play MMA, you fight MMA. You going in there, you putting your body at risk.
100%. You are.
This is not a bullshit dream, excuse my French. This
Hundred
is
percent.
and you going in there, you gotta know what you're getting into. You was choked out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel maybe you should have polished more in your jujitsu skills? Or was it something like, damn it, he got me. I slipped and he caught me.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, it was. Listen, I don't, man. I hate excuses. He won. It was what it was. Fuck that kid. He's a bum. You know what I mean? He wasn't even that good. Honestly, any other day I would have probably beat his ass. It was. It just. And listen, the be fully put transparent. And honestly, even if it sounds like excuses, fuck him. He doesn't deserve
Yep.
shit. That's why he lost recently in the UFC, and he's being exposed. The kid's one dimensional. He's a fucking bum. Tell you the truth, how it was I was on. I took an L, right, and then I moved out to Colorado, and I was on another streak. I built up another streak. I went two fights in a row, and then I got robbed. I got split decision loss,
I was gonna
right,
ask you about that.
against. Yeah, I had a split decision loss against Diego Silva, which was some fucking bullshit. It was crazy because I felt like I won 2-1. I lost the third round, but I won the first two rounds clearly. Day and night, I was backing the kid up. He wasn't doing shit to me, but it was what it was. I ended up taking the L off a split decision, and then I fought one more. And then I ended up fishing the kid, and then they hit me with another one. So I'm like, okay, but I was living out in Colorado, and it was getting to the point where it was getting hard to live out there. Colorado's expensive, the rent's expensive, the food is expensive, like the gym membership was expensive, and I had to talk to the coach and tell him, yo, I have to move back home, or I have to figure something out. And he goes, do one more fight, and I took the fight against Matthias Silva, I think it was his name, but it
Yeah.
got canceled. I ended up missing weight,
I
so
was
I
gonna
ended up.
ask you that.
So
How
yes.
how discouraging is it when you're about to fight and the fight is canceled?
So to tell you the truth, I missed weight. And to be fully transparent, I didn't want to pull out. I still want to fight the kid, but the coach from Factory X pulled me out. He literally told me. I told him, I'm like, I'm not gonna make the weight, and he goes, you got to make the weight. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to, bro. I got 2 pounds, and I'm severely dehydrated. I'm like, if I do any more, I'm gonna end up sending myself to the hospital. And then he proceeded to get upset with me, and he pulled me out because I did that. He's like, you're being disrespectful. I'm pulling you out of the fight. I'm like, don't pull me out. Let me still fight the kid. I'm like, if he accepts the 2 pound weight miss, we'll still fight. And he got so upset, this egotistical maniac, that he pulled me out of the fight, right? He pulled me out. And I'm like, okay, he pulled me out. As soon as he pulled me out, I left. I left the team. I was like, if I'm like, I'm not a kid. I'm 28 years old. I'm a grown fucking man. Most guys got kids, a full family, and a mortgage by the time they're my age. I
Yeah.
picked a different path. I don't have. I was 28 at the time. I didn't have kids. I didn't have a mortgage, but I'm still a fucking adult. And when he made the decision, when he took the decision out of my hands and decided for me to not to fight, I made the decision. I took the decision back to my hands. And I told him I'm leaving. So I left Factory X. I moved back home, and I was training out of a few different spots here in Chicago before I opened up my gym. And I got the offer to fight. I got the offer to fight Austin Bashi, and they told me, my manager at the time told me, he's like, you beat this kid, you're gonna get signed to UFC. So obviously, I'm like, what do I got to lose? I'm like, I gotta
Yeah.
fight this kid. So they tell me you're gonna fight him in his hometown, in his home promotion, at 135 pounds. I'm like, done. Aye, aye, Captain. Let's head out to Michigan and fight this dude in his backyard in front of his people. Let's do it. I show up. I'm driving to Michigan, brother. I'm driving to Michigan. They call me the other day of the weigh-ins. They go, "Yo, he's gonna miss weight by 4 pounds." They tell me Austin's gonna miss weight by 4 pounds. I'm like, bro, it's all good. Drink that water, bro. I'll start drinking my water. We'll meet at 140 and let's fight, right? But I told him, I'm like, there's only one stipulation. If I win or if he wins, there's no belt on the line. I'm like, the belt's gone since we both missed weight, right? The belt's gone. So the funny thing is, we weigh in. They don't even announce me that we missed weight. You know what I mean? The promoter doesn't even. I show. So I start drinking water. Mind you, I start drinking water, and at
That
the
doesn't make
drive
sense though.
I know, right? We drive because it's their guy. They have to protect him. They have to make him.
Gotcha, gotcha.
You know,
Makes sense.
if he missed weight and they announced he missed weight, they would have it would have been for hindered him from getting to the UFC. So they told me they're like, just drink all the water you want. We'll meet at 140, brother. I drank all the water I wanted. I couldn't get over 136. We show up to the weigh-ins. I went at 136. I make weight still. He weighs in at 139.8 or 139.7, whatever it was. We face off. We weigh in. I told the promoter, I'm like, listen, win or lose, no belt on the line since he missed weight. If I win, I get the belt. If he wins, no fucking belt.
Yeah,
Right?
that's how it is though. In any
Yes,
in every combat sport, if the guy misses weight, he cannot get the championship.
100%.
However, the guy that did make the weight, if he wins, he becomes a champion.
That's what it's supposed to be. So I ended up making the weight. He didn't make a weight. We fight the next day, and obviously, listen, not making the weight makes a difference. The kid's a fucking 45er. Clearly, look at him. He's fighting at 145 in the UFC.
Yeah.
I fought him at 135. I weighed 135. He weighed in 140. The next day we wake up, the kid looks like he gained about 40 pounds of fucking weight.
He
He
was
looks like
doing that. He was doing that water diet
you
shit.
know, yeah,
That
he's
he
doing
ate a pasta to expand himself out.
100%. So the next day we're fighting. He looks like he's about a weight class heavier than me, and obviously I felt it in the fight. You watched the fight clearly. Did you think I won the first round?
Yes.
I felt like I won the first round. I was beating his ass. I was beating his ass. But here's the thing: I was putting damage on that kid's face. It was barely touching me. I was putting the kid damage on the kid's face. It wasn't doing anything. He was walking through shots. He was walking through everything that I was putting on him because of I felt like the size he put back on.
The
And
size, yeah, because
right.
he was able to absorb it.
And I hate it, brother. I hate it. But at the end of the day, this needed to come out, right? It's been such a year, and I just kept it. I was like, I won't
Yeah.
talk about it. It's all good. But honestly, fuck this kid. Fuck the game. Fuck MMA. Fuck the coaches I used to have, and fuck Austin Bashi, honestly. And I can't wait for this to come out just for people to know where I was at with it. In the middle of Ramadan, astaghfirullah. But so it is what it is. I ended up getting choked out by the motherfucker. I get choked out. I stand back up. I'm disappointed. I look at the crowd. It's all his people. It's his family. It's his friends. You
Yeah.
know, whatever. I put myself in that environment. It was my decision. And then I see the promoter wrap the belt around his waist, and I go, "What are you doing?" I'm at the kid missed fucking weight, but I'm like, man, fuck this kid, fuck the promotion, fuck the fight game. I left. I wrote out. At this point, I already had my gym kind of up and running in terms of operation. I came back. I made a mental decision. I sat down. PFL. The funny thing is, PFL reached out to me after that loss, and they offered me a contract, a fight for PFL Mania overseas to do that PFL in Saudi.
Yeah.
They said, come fight in Saudi. But tell you the truth, after taking that L, it broke my heart so much that it's like I just couldn't find the drive to want to grind how I want to grind to be ready for a fight. And I'm the kind of guy that needs to check every stone. You know, I need to check every box. I need to flip over every stone over and check every box. And when I felt like I couldn't do that, I decided to put myself on a back burner. So I reached out to PFL and I told them, listen, I love this opportunity, but I'm going to have to pass it up because I need to see my mental first and take care of my life. So I stepped back. I took a little bit of a break from training and fighting, and I opened up my own gym. And then I met the love of my life, my wife. I got married, so I got married
Congratulations.
last year. Thank you, brother. I got married. I opened up my business, and it's been flourishing ever since. And hopefully this year I'm looking to have a kid. You know what I mean? Hopefully sooner than later. And then that's it. That's why it's like whenever I get that, like you asked if I was retired.
Yeah.
Whenever I get that question, I'm not sure. Do I think it's over? I don't think so. Mentally, I don't think it's over. But it's just the fight game is such a cruel bitch. It treats you like shit. I'm
It
30 years
does
old.
because it's like to piggyback off what you're saying is like they love you when you're on top, but if you fall down once, everybody hates you.
100%. That's what it
Ser-
is.
Sergio Martinez knocked out Paul Williams. He set his phone off the hook. He gets
Hmm.
knocked out by Miguel Cotto. He got 3 phone calls.
Yep.
His
Yep.
mother, his
Yep.
brother, and his father.
Yes,
Now,
sir. That's literally what it is. That's what the fight game is. It's brutal, and what's even more crazy is how much politics are behind the scenes. So it took me forever to find a fight. At the end of the day, nobody wanted to fight Austin Bash. I fought that motherfucker. I fought him. But nobody wanted to fight him because I knew I could beat his ass. I knew. But the funny thing is, the deck was a little stacked. Maybe if me and that motherfucker met in the UFC Apex and
yeah.
fought there, I would have treated him how that last opponent treated him. You know what
You
I mean?
know
I would have
what?
stuffed his takedowns in.
Do you feel your team didn't put you in the right position to win.
For that one, no.
Your past team, excuse me.
To tell you the truth, my past team, the only thing that disappointed me about my past team was it was a business transaction. It wasn't family. It was bullshit. It was just a business. It was a paycheck for the guy. It was pay your monthly membership, pay your gym dues, give me your percentage. You know what I mean? Do your thing. I never even hit mitts with the coach. Listen, I'm not even mentioning his name. I never hit mitts with the guy. The dude's never trained me. The new dude's never put detail into me. Like I was training with Rafa Wheelie. Give that guy a shout out with Alexander Hernandez, with those guys, Brandon Royval and those guys. They got their own little scrap pack in Colorado. Those are the guys that were helping me train and get up to the top. But the coaches at that old gym barely fucking put the work into me.
Wait, wait,
At the end of the day,
but they were at your corner of the fight.
which one? The Austin Bashi fight?
I'm just saying in general. They were
No,
in your
no,
corner.
no. That coach from Colorado never cornered me.
So okay.
The funny thing is, he never cornered me. The funny thing is, with his system, it's you. If you were fighting outside of the UFC, a pro fighter outside of the UFC, he was sending one of the coaches with you. It wasn't worth it for him to come out. You know
So
what I mean?
he,
That's
yeah,
where
so he, I'm not sure. I don't know the guy, but according to you, it seems like he doesn't care about his
he
client.
doesn't. He doesn't care unless you're making him money. He doesn't care. Just like every coach, just like every old head over 50, over 45, over 40. That's a coach. They don't care unless you're paying the bills. You know what I mean? I tell my guys every day, brother, the generation of old school coaches is gonna die, and I can't wait for it to fucking rest in peace so I can be the one to put the gravel stone on top. Right? The new generation of coaches are coming. The coaches now are 35, 30 years old, 40 years old, 45 years old that fought, that have competed in mixed martial arts. For you to be like, oh, just because you're not a good fighter, you could be a good coach. Yes, 100% true. 100% true. Just because you weren't a good fighter doesn't mean you can be a good coach. But here's the key word: you were a fighter at one point, at least
Yes.
in there 10 times, 15 times. The experience, right? Some of these coaches have never fought MMA. Some of these MMA coaches have never fought MMA.
That's
That's like going to a jiu-jitsu gym and your jiu-jitsu coach never doing a tournament.
I don't know. Or
Imagine.
yeah,
Like,
that's odd.
how would you train with that guy? How would you take that guy in? How would you think that this guy is going to tell you the right things if he couldn't even go in there and experience them for himself?
Well, I actually changed this, and I shout out to my sensei Justin. I can actually say that he's that dude.
Yeah, 100%. That's the cool thing about jiu-jitsu schools. The jiu-jitsu schools, you gotta be the fucking man and get on the mats with your guy. You can't be like, yo, listen, I'm the man and my credentials are nothing. But in MMA, the bullshit thing about MMA, you could be like, I train Muay Thai. I trained Muay Thai 2 years in Thailand, and I did a few wrestling classes over here, and now I got my own school. That's literally what the credentials are, because it's like there's no belts in MMA, So you could be like, I'll hold mitts for you, and I'll teach you how to fight. It's like, how can you do that, bro? But maybe in 2015, 2020, you could do that. But in the new age, 2025, 2030, if you got less than 10 pro fights, you can't coach my ass. Like you can't coach shit.
Yeah, I
You should
got you.
sit at home and be an assistant coach, just like jiu-jitsu coaches. Like if they're not winning tournaments, you know what I mean? Go find somebody else.
So did that loss encourage you to start your martial arts school?
To tell you the truth, no. I had the funny thing is, if you watch the fight, I had the logo of the gym on my shorts.
Okay.
If you watch that fight before the gym even existed, but so the gym was already in my mind. I named it Round Four Gym because my four brothers. I'm the oldest out of four, so I named it
Okay.
for me and my brothers to show unity. But no, no, no. The gym was already in my mind. When as soon as I told you, as soon as I came home, I started building the idea of the gym, and I was training. And then they hit me up about the Austin Bashi fight while I was in the process of building the gym, and I was
You
like, man, I can't.
manifested this whole thing.
Literally, I was like, I can't pass up the opportunity. I'm like, I might as well fight Austin Bashi while I'm building the gym, and I'll win, and I'll use the platform to build up my name even more using the gym's name, And obviously, I didn't win. The result didn't come in my way. But to tell you the truth, it's crazy because it's like maybe if I won, I probably wouldn't have pushed so hard to finish the gym. Maybe if I won, I would have made it to UFC. I wouldn't have met the love of my life. That's my wife now.
Yeah.
Maybe if I won, I would have went a different route and not opened up this gym and this community and met all these amazing people and been able to like talk to
So,
yourself and I would have been somewhere else. I would have probably been an egotistical maniac like the rest of them. But
yeah.
it is
So,
what it is.
so in essence, Allah put you in the position that you're in now for a reason.
Alhamdulillah,
No?
alhamdulillah, brother. 100%, 100%,
Okay.
hundred
I
percent.
agree with that. I think everything happens for a reason, but I think it's more important that we acknowledge it. And the mere fact that you're acknowledging it says that you embrace the loss. You embrace it.
100%.
But it's not a loss.
Yes.
If you look at it, you actually won. You met the love
Yeah.
of your life. You started your own company. You're your own boss now. You're planning
Yes.
to have
100%.
children now. So you won in the
Yes.
end.
I tell you the truth, there are no losses. There are no losses.
I don't believe it. I agree with you. I think they're all lessons.
Yes, there's no losses in life. They're all lessons. You become a better man. One of the main reasons I fell in love with fighting was because after every fight, I felt like I became a better person. I became a better man. The training camps leading up to it made me a disciplined human being. Watch my nutrition, watch my mental, make sure I'm sleeping right, make sure I'm eating right, make sure I'm drinking enough water. You know what I mean? Now I'm trying to get better with my prayer and be closer to Allah, alhamdulillah, and all that extra stuff. So it's like there's no losses in MMA. I tell the kids every day. Some of these kids walking in, but coach, I want to fight, but I don't want to do it for a living. I'm like, you don't got to do it for a living. I'm like, you get it right, you get it tight, and then you get in there, you compete, you experience it. That's what life is. It's an experience, right? But these guys put themselves in boxes. They go, yo, if I'm not MMA fighter, I'm not nothing, brother. You could be whatever you want. You could be a father, a son, a husband, a MMA fighter, an entrepreneur, a doctor, a dentist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Anything you
actually
want.
my doctor actually he trains MMA.
What do you want? But now I got guys in here that are doctors, electricians, plumbers, mechanics. You know, I got a guy that's an electrician that fought for me. The dude's a union electrician making 6 figures a year. Doesn't have to fight a day in his life, but comes in here and goes, bro, I want to fight. I got guys that are HVAC, construction workers, kids that got sales jobs,
Yeah.
and in the morning they're doing their thing, at night they're training, and they're like, yo, I still want to just, I don't need to make it to UFC, but I want to try to get as close as I can or compete to a pro level. You know what I
Yeah, and
mean?
it's like getting the experience for
A
it.
100%, 100%.
So you open your gym. How satisfying was that for you?
It
And
was amazing, brother.
you clearly you're training fighters that want to go pro.
Yes,
Excuse my French, you was fucked over in the fight game.
to a certain extent, 100%.
Not 100%, but you was. Everybody gets a little fucked over here and there. Are you going to try to
You do,
protect your fighters as much as possible so they don't go
brother.
through the bullshit you went through?
That's literally what I tell them on a daily basis. I'm like, the biggest difference now is a lot of the kids go, Coach, oh man, I'm so grateful to have you here. I'm like, bro, listen, I wish I had a coach like myself that cared a little bit. And then maybe the rest of these guys that are gonna see this, I'm like, oh, I cared. He just didn't know how to take it. It's like, bro, you didn't give a fuck, bro. Look me right in my face. You didn't give a fuck. None of you guys give a fuck. You know what I mean?
They
You
never
old
sat down and
motherfuckers.
watched film with you. They never.
Never, never, bro. I was at one point. I was training up at this gym up in Schaumburg, bro. I was coaching the team for this guy. I was coaching the team for that guy. You know what I mean? Every gym I ever been to, these guys, unless you're making them money, bro, they don't care about the little guys. And the rest of the pro fighters that train at those gyms, they know what I'm talking about, bro. They all know. This is every MMA pro fighter that trains at a gym knows if you're not making the coach money, he doesn't give a fuck about you, bro. And that's the honest truth. And if you're telling yourself something else, you're lying. And then if not, maybe you're taking him as an advantage. And that's the truth. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Human beings love fucking other human beings over. That's the problem when they're not connected to God, when they're not connected to
Yeah,
their community, when they're not connected to their family, when they're just willy nilly out. They don't give a fuck. They're just out here chasing pussy and drinking alcohol and
yeah,
partying all night. You know
sad.
what I mean?
It's sad
You
but
know
true.
what I
You're right. You're actually right. It's sad but
and
true.
it's the truth. It's the truth. So it's like, no, now I'm making sure that these guys got their head on right. I'm making sure that they're not signing with the wrong managers because that's one other toxic thing the sport has.
Yeah.
Bullshit managers, these used car salesmen, not signing with the wrong managers, fighting with the right promoters, building relations,
Do
connecting to
you
promoters.
feel that you will probably manage one of their careers or become in the management role or some type of
Brother,
advisor?
listen, like I said, brother, I'm a coach, a manager, a husband, a father, a son, a brother,
Mhm.
what's it called a promoter, a manager. I'll go. Like I said, I'll go sell used cars if I have to. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I tell you the
Yeah.
truth, I'm trying to run my own promotion in Chicago. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? I'm
That's
trying to run a
awesome,
little.
man.
I'm trying to run a little fight show. Hopefully by like maybe the beginning of next year. I see these dudes that have never fought again, have never fought, have never competed, have never even trained jujitsu, do it, and I'm like, why are they doing it when I'm the guy? We're the people that've been in the game. I'm like, we're gonna run a promotion. I'm gonna manage these dudes. I'm gonna get them right. You know what I mean? What you want me to get in contact with Sean Shelby? You want me? I already fought for LFA, the biggest promotion in outside of the UFC in terms of the feeder
Yeah.
league. I got a good relationship with the matchmaker. I could get all my guys on LFA card and get us up to the UFC. Dana White Contender Series. Sean Shelby. Do we need to give 20% to the manager? No. I tell these kids, pay your membership, do your thing, and I'll push you as hard as I can. And most of the guys that are fighting for me, I'm like, bro, you guys see my passion for this. You put the work in. I swear to God, I will put the same amount of work in you put in. If you come up to me as a student and you go, yo, coach, I got a fight coming up, but I need to run 10 miles, and I don't know if I could do it by myself, brother. I got my shoes tied. Let's get on the road and do it together.
Gotcha.
That's literally where
Eh,
I'm at
I
with it
think
with
I
these
think
kids.
that's probably was lacking nowadays. So
And I tell the kids, I'm like, bro, I'll do that until the day my legs can't do it no more. You know what I mean? I'm like, take advantage of it now. I'm 30 years old. I'll do it as much as I need to. You know, if you check out my Instagram right now, I'm honestly, I feel like I'm one of the best mitt holders in the area, in the Midwest. Like, you want to get your striking right, you want to get your mitt work right. I'm the guy. You know, I'm
gotcha.
like, who's got more
Where there's
credentials than me?
because there's people watching this and they probably don't even know how to find your school. How can they find it? Where's the location?
Well, so we're in Palos Hills, Illinois, right? It's called Round Four Gym. You know, if you're in the area and you're seeing this interview, you know, obviously I'll try to post it and show it to a few people. If you're in the area, come and check us out. Our first class is free. Our first session is free if you sign up. You know, Ramadan's about to end, so we know we got an influx of students coming next month. So yeah, we're located in Palos Heights, right across the street from Stagg High School. You know, we're in a prime location. We're an MMA gym across the street from a high school. You know what I mean? There's no MMA gym that's across the street from my high school. When I was in high school, bro, if I was able to walk across the street to go train MMA with a pro fighter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
UFC caliber athletes, like, come on, bro. You know, there's
No,
no
you're right.
better
I
advantage
get
than
what you're
that.
saying. I get what you're saying.
Like, I got the recipe to have success here. I'm gonna get one of these. Maybe my UFC champion isn't here right now, but I'm telling you, he's 14 years old, 13 years old right now in my kids class, building up, coming up in the near future.
Gotcha. So listen, man, I really want to thank you for your time. I'm gonna bring you back in 30 days.
Ah,
But next time
brother,
I come back, I want you to give me a tour of your gym so I can show it.
done, done. Of course, of course, of course. I
All right.
appreciate you, Jay. You're the man.
Nah, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate your time.
Of course, bro. It was good talking to you, bro. We'll
It was
talk
great
soon.
talking to you. Thank you.
My boy, of course. Have a good rest of your day.